Rick Flynn. Rick, I've known you for a long time. Founder of Flynn Company and CEO of Flynn Company. I've known you in many capacities over the years, and recently you were acquired. Our audience, they're very accustomed to different business owners. And so really what I want to do is unpack your story today, have you run this conversation really on how you got started.
Sure.
How you were acquired, what you are now. And so can you just start off with an introduction to everybody?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I'm a native of Cincinnati and Moeller grad. I think early on my parents were great. They instilled a super work ethic and definitely do the right thing at all times. And that was a great background for anyone to grow up with. And the work ethic was big for me. I love working, and worked my way through college at Kenwood Country Club. Worked for.
What did you do there?
Well, I started as a caddy, like everyone.
Yeah. Yes.
And then over the years, eventually became the caddy master and worked for the pro. And he was an amazing mentor, Bob Foppe. And he mentored many people over the years, but really took me under his wing and taught me a lot about business and people skills. He was a consummate professional at people skills. And so that helped a tremendous amount. And I met a lot of folks that really got me into public accounting. So I started with what's now called PricewaterhouseCoopers. And so I was a UC student, and I would co-op in the winters and work for Bob in the summers. And, so that was a really challenging but good thing for me because I like staying busy.
Right.
And so public accounting became very important to me. What I like about it, it's a challenge every day, and you're making a difference. And so you're working with all kinds of people throughout the day. But when I graduated, worked for PwC, and then had an opportunity to go to EY.
I've heard about this. Yes. How long were you at EY?
10 years.
Oh my gosh. I did not realize. So that's a great training ground, right?
It's a fabulous training ground. And a lot of folks want to get into the very large firms. It's not only a resume builder, but it's a massive skill builder. And so those 10 years went by really fast.
What did you do there when you were at EY?
I was in both the audit and the tax department.
Okay.
And which was really a great background to start Flynn Company. And so on the audit side, I mostly audited banks. And so you might remember Provident Bank. That was an account
I definitely
of mine for
remember
many
that.
years.
Yes.
I did a lot for Fifth Third and PNC and some of the other more regionals. And then did a lot of tax work on top of that. So I couldn't have asked for a better experience. Had great mentors there. Jack Crowley, who was a longtime friend of mine, unfortunately passed away a couple years ago. But he was very instrumental in my growth at EY. And then in '94 decided, I think it's time for me to start my own practice. So I got an entrepreneurial itch.
Yeah. So tell me about the itch. Like, was it there for a year, 6 months? I always hear about this, and I like to break it down. When and how long did you have the itch?
Well, I think it was all the way back to when I was a kid. And, it was always there. That you never know exactly, how it will present.
Right.
And I think people are blessed that know what they want to do right out of the gate, but those are few and far between.
They are.
And, but I think for me, starting, Flynn Company, was a big step. And, my wife, Linda, was at home raising our 3 kids.
Yes.
And
I always say that's the hardest job. That's the job, it's tough to do.
She's absolutely my greatest cheerleader.
Yes.
And, so what's interesting, we look back and I'm like, weren't you ever worried about that? She says, no, I knew you would always make ends meet.
Yeah.
And, so she had probably more faith than I did.
Right.
And so she found my first office right out of the gate.
That's incredible.
And,
of course she did.
She just went after it. And so that's how we got started, and then just built it one client at a time.
Right.
And then our first employee was a co-op from UC.
Okay.
So just went back to UC on this, and UC became our go-to. Okay. The co-op program, one, we believe in it, and, but on top of that, it was just a great source. It was perfect because I went to UC and I liked the diversity of UC and the size. With regard to, from a recruitment perspective, they had plenty of students to pursue, and I just think it's these state universities have produced a little bit of a grittier type, student.
Agreed.
And which really fit into what we needed to do.
Right.
So,
well, and they say statistically speaking, right, in any literature, that the state school kids are the ones that actually run things, that actually start things, versus a lot of the Harvards, the Yales, and other Ivies, they typically work for somebody. And so it's very interesting to follow the data on that. So I believe that. I think there's something to first generation grit, right? Trying to prove yourself, trying to make it, and work really hard.
Yes. Yeah. The young students that we were pursuing would fit that mold for sure. And over the years, we have hired hundreds and hundreds of co-ops. I mean, so for instance, our last year as Flynn Company, we had 15 co-ops, full-time co-ops, in busy season alone.
Right.
And that was how we built our office, because we were very persnickety as to who we would
choose,
invite.
Yes.
And we were looking for someone that wanted to work, wanted to be in public accounting, or wanted at least to try it. Academically, they had to be very strong.
What do you think, like when you were first starting it and first learning to run a business, what do you think were some of those early learnings that you would share with people that are maybe have the itch like you?
Question. Yeah, I think in looking back at the big four versus what we ended up creating, probably one of the bigger revelations was, the very large firms would have an endless stream of talent coming in because they wanted to be in the starting gates there.
Right.
Okay. And there was, always an accepted turnover rate in the big firms. I mean, it's expected that you're going to have turnover. The clients don't like it, but they get it. It's like, we've signed up for a big name, and where are we going to go? To another big four firm?
Right.
Because they're that size, they're going to have to be in that space. But there are about 46,000 CPA practices across the country.
Wow.
So what are the other 46,000 doing? We're really competing against a lot of those. And so their clients don't like turnover, okay? But they have a lot more choices.
Right.
In the big four, you're talking about 4.
Yes.
They can go anywhere. The other ones can go anywhere to get served. So the revelation was, how do we create longevity in our employees so we don't have the turnover, which is a turn-off for clients?
Right.
And so that really got into a different type of hiring, all right, looking for the person that would most likely make a career of this.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then
to think about that, right? Because that's what you wanted, are those long-term relationships.
You wanted those long-term relationships that we can invest in those people.
Right.
And so there's always been in my mind, an ongoing push and pull, like an inner conflict in my mind with regard to efficiency, versus effectiveness.
Right.
And so in public accounting, I mean, you really have to be on the go, creating value with every hour. And so someone that can be really efficient can be a great individual performer. All right. But we were now building a team. And so when you look at effectiveness, what does that look like if you're going to build a great team that's going to stay for a long time? So you're spending a lot more time with those individuals, trying to cultivate their capabilities. And so as opposed to being a pace setter, for instance, you're a builder.
Yes.
And once that realization kind of happened, then things really started taking off.
Right.
The first years, unfortunately, I ran through a lot of people.
Yeah,
okay?
Sure, yes.
And then you start to realize.
Well, plus you're an EY guy, right?
That's
so
right.
You have those expectations.
You have high expectations.
You do. I've met other EY guys and women, and I know exactly their reputation. So
yeah, and then so you're coming out of something like an environment like that. It's hard to turn off.
Agreed.
But then you realize, why are so many people not staying?
Yes.
And could it possibly be me?
Yeah.
And it was.
Right.
It was. So I had to make a pivot. And getting back to, that cultivation state, really building people up. And so it became a passion of empowerment, empowering other people. Okay. So it's really putting purpose, which would alleviate that conflict between being efficient, versus being effective with regard to people. And so that purpose change made all the difference in the world.
I'm sure it did. And I think about, I've known you for a long time, so I'll tell our listeners here, gosh, I think I've known you almost all my life, if you really think about it. Yeah, long time.
Yeah, I knew your parents really well.
Yes. So you obviously founded Flynn Company, and you were part of the community foundation at the time of Westchester Liberty, which is now the Northern Cincinnati Foundation. And really...
That was a great experience.
Well, good. Let's talk about that, because when you came on... You were a founding family, is that right? Or founding business?
Founding business,
okay. Yeah. Which is amazing. And it speaks to, obviously, entrepreneurs within the region coming together to really be a part of the community.
Yes. Well, a great mentor out of all of that was Patty Alderson, and her husband, Dick. I mean, those two are, incredible individuals. I learned an awful lot by serving on the board, and seeing Patty in action. I would have to say she's one of the few forces of nature I've seen in my life.
True.
And
a true starter.
A true
fire starter in the sense of somebody has to start it, right?
Yes.
If somebody thinks of it, to start it, and you always need that person, right? That's going to really found something.
Yes, and it was interesting for me because, I come from a world of numbers and compliance and things like this, and in her world, it's about, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to sit down at the table, and we're going to divide it up, and I'm going to do this, and she just does it. And that was really interesting for me to watch. I mean, I think, she really opened my eyes up in a lot of ways with regard to entrepreneurialism, because that's what that, is. Where that comes from.
For sure.
They built a really great business, and then she took what she learned from that, I think she was always incredibly community driven.
Yes.
I would hear the word community coming out of her mouth over and over again. And to me, that resonated. And I remember some of the board meetings, I would try to assert with regard to numbers and compliance.
Sure.
And she wanted nothing to do with it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then I realized, okay, well, this will get done. Okay. But I can't be an impediment to this person because she got so much done.
She does.
She was the person
definitely...
that was the driver in the early stages, creating the endowment that makes the community foundation work, which funds the foundation.
That's right.
Otherwise, it would be like you would be working off of events to survive.
Yes.
Exactly. So she ended all of that.
Yes.
And set the stage for the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I think she was instrumental in my vision or my view of community, which got me involved into a little bank called Warsaw Federal.
Yes, you were telling me about this. So break it down for everybody.
Sure. Warsaw is a mutual savings bank in Price Hill, which is, they need every advantage they can get.
Sure.
And, so I was asked to be on the board in 2012, and it was very easy to see they needed an economic engine to make it work. So we agreed on creating a mortgage platform and doing a lot of mortgages. At the time, they just had one loan officer. She just pretty much did everything, and they kept all the loans on their books. And, so we ended up working on developing that model. Around 2014, the president moved on, and everyone's like, what are we going to do?
Right.
And I'm like, well, we're not making any money. We're a small savings and loan, and in a little bit of a blighted part of town. This is not going to be easy to find a replacement right off the bat until we had a lot of regulatory problems too. And so I was like, I'll just do it. And so, Patty's in the back of my head.
Yes, yes.
Talking about community, and this is how this thing really got there. So we ended up building the mortgage platform, doing about $100 million of residential loans a year and selling those loans on the market. And that funded all of the things the regulators wanted and got us eventually, after about 6.5 years, got us back into compliance. And then,
which is a big deal, right? To tackle that. So kudos to you.
It was hard.
It is no easy task.
That was hard work.
Yes.
But I had a really great board that was super supportive, and we built a wonderful team, and they were just cranking it out. So, we merged into a group of mutuals out of Lakewood, Ohio. And Warsaw still exists, and we later turned it into the second minority depository in the whole state of Ohio.
Wow.
So Warsaw still exists. They have the naming rights for the Warsaw Federal Incline Theater, which helped build that theater in Price Hill. And so many good things have happened and will happen.
There's so many wonderful economic development projects happening right now within Price Hill.
Yes.
I know with leadership class of Cincinnati, we toured, and it was very educational. And my dad is a West Sider. I don't know if you know his origin story, but yes, he was St. Jude kid over on the West Side, and his dad went to Elder, and mom went to Seton. And so, it's great to see kind of the reinvigoration and redevelopment of a lot of those pieces within the West Side.
Well, that community should be very proud of itself.
100%.
I mean, they stuck to it and continued to progress. And they built Price Hill Will.
Yeah.
And a number of other activities to really rebuild.
Right.
And it's made all the difference in the world. So it's all about people, right?
Right. It is all about people.
And how they build and come together and make good decisions and just move forward. Even when it's tough. I mean, that's when it really matters.
Right.
So
I will say this, when I think about you and kind of your story and giving back and community, not everyone has the same beliefs as you on philanthropy. I'm grateful you do, because I think you do a lot of good in this community.
Oh, well.
I would love to hear your take on, why do you think that is? Why isn't everyone as passionate as you are? I mean, I definitely meet amazing people that sell their businesses and give back, through their payouts and run a donor advised fund or a scholarship fund. And those people are amazing. But there are plenty of people that get a large purchase situation and they don't give. And I always wonder, why pay the government? Break this down for me. I'm like, what is this about?
Yeah.
Help me understand, just because you work with so many amazing people, and I get it's totally their choice. But just, do you think it's because of just being raised to give back? Or what is your why, I guess, on?
Well, I'm not sure. I just think, I think one of the highest purposes or reasons why we're here, is to fully integrate as a person.
Yeah.
And we really don't spend enough time teaching people how to do that. And I think that's incredibly ineffective. Because we're very blessed in this community, but in all walks of life, we have, people are super capable. They just don't know it. And, so wherever their mind is, if it's not really on integrating, they're kind of wasting time. Okay. And,
I like that. That makes sense to me. Yes.
Yeah. And so if you're really thinking about where the conflicts are in your mind, okay, so as I mentioned, I have a constant thing going on about, I need to be effective, but I need to be efficient. I need to be efficient, but no, you got to be effective.
Right.
And, but just understanding that dynamic exists and accepting that and leaning into it is how you integrate, as an example.
Yeah.
And, so everyone there's no right personality or wrong personality. Everyone contributes. The key is getting people to integrate and truly understand who they are.
Yeah.
And, so you'll see a lot of people, or the people that probably have a more solid footing on that, are more accommodating toward giving.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. And I think, yes, just being a whole community member too.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think, you can go about your life and be really busy, maybe working for corporate America, or, just kind of be really holed off in this one area, and then forget to look at the whole picture, of community. Now that you said community, I'm like, yes, I love that. It is. That is the word that you want to think about.
Yeah, look at the great people that you've worked with. I mean, first of all, like your mom and dad.
Yes.
I mean, true givers.
They're true givers, for sure.
And very integrated individuals. Dick and Patty the same way.
Yes.
And, these are people that have made major impacts, in Westchester and beyond.
Right.
Boys and Girls Club. Another contribution. Your mom ran the Port Authority.
Yes.
Pretty much single-handedly.
Yes.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yes.
I mean, 5 brownfields that she reclaimed.
Right.
Your dad. I mean, this stellar career.
Right. He's going to have congressional remarks read on the House floor tomorrow, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I mean, he deserves.
Yes.
All of that and more.
Yes.
And so. How many people are capable of doing that? Probably everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. The issue is, where is their head? And, how, what would be great is to be able to help people, get through that and integrate and be who they really live up to what they have been meant to do.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And when I hear you speak about leadership, to me, that is profound, because I think as we all age, right, we come to realize that all of us could be better leaders, managers. And I like that you're saying that there's like no wrong fit, wrong personality. It's just working together really as a team, or that's what I'm hearing.
Yes.
And I like that. And I think it takes us all time to learn that, right?
Yes.
Especially depending on your background before this. But if you're running your own shop and you want to retain people and you want to grow, then yeah, you're exactly right. It's like, how do I grow as a leader? And I think there's been a real cognizant move from maybe when your early career to now it's these empathetic leaders, right? Leading with empathy. And it's so different, I'm sure, than those days that, even my parents were starting out, right? It's a different world.
Yeah. Well, when you look at just starting out in anything, okay, you're grinding. And, so when you're, then hopefully you get good at grinding.
Yes.
Okay. And, and then at that point, there's a certain point where you hopefully crest over and say, the things that got me here no longer serves me. Which then you have to change.
Right.
You have to change into a new reality. Otherwise, you're always going to be a grinder, right? And, what you see today, we were talking about double income families, right?
Yes.
Well, can you imagine, two family members or a single mom or a single dad raising a family and working a couple jobs? When are they going to have the time to not be a grinder?
Right.
To come to some kind of a realization that there's something different or better. And, so I think there's some inherent changes that our society really needs to make, in terms of, what do we teach people? What is really the curriculum that we should be teaching them?
Yeah.
And
this is so timely. Can I just say that at this point on what are we teaching people? Because I just listened to a podcast this morning. I listened to Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett.
Okay.
And he had two big CEOs on. One that also was with Jeff Bezos running Amazon. And then another one that's always done these smaller businesses and really encouraged capitalism in the UK. And so they were just talking about there is a serious problem. We need to teach people this skill and how beautiful starting your own thing can be and how important small businesses and businesses are.
Yes.
To everyone, not just some. And
yes.
so I'm sorry, I just had to, as you're going on your point, I'm like, yes.
This is, you're spot on. And, and so, but what are we teaching them? Okay. And I think our media does a lot to teach people how to compare. And I think that is tragic.
Agreed.
Because if we sit and compare all day long, what do you have and what don't I have? Look at what you have. You really, we've lost our way with regard to being grateful for what we do have.
I agree.
And how we can parlay that.
Rick, your wisdom is good. So there's this, I'm in a group, a women's group, leadership group. And so I've started doing this gratitude journal.
Oh, perfect.
And you every day are writing about like, what are your goals for the day? What are you grateful for? And then in the night, you talk about what were your greatest takeaways? And then what are you grateful for? And that really, if we could just do that every day, if everyone could really think about, well, I'm healthy, I have children, right? Like all of really what matters.
Yes.
In life.
The Jesuits would have the examen, so at the end of the day, reviewing the day and how could I do better and what did I learn and things like that. And so it's incredibly powerful. But why don't we do that?
You should. You're right. In school. Yeah. In school and really in universities and just teaching practical, I couldn't agree with you more, practical skills, like those soft skills and those mental health skills of going for a walk and eating whole foods and all of those things that we all need.
We've forgotten these things.
Yes.
And, so when you get a book that comes out like Atomic Habits.
So good.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, it was super well written, and it's been flying off the shelves for years. And, so where was the big discovery? I mean, it was here all the time.
Right.
We have forgotten our way.
I agree.
And, but it is a must read, if you really want to be good at anything.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, which begs the question to me, what are some of your atomic habits? Are you the morning person? So talk about because when I drive past here, and I'm driving past here a lot here recently, Rick, I'm like, well, there's Rick's car, he's here. He's here. He was acquired, but he is here. He's a partner. And so talk about your atomic habits before we get into acquisition and where you are now.
Well, usually up by 4:30 to 5. So today I slept till 5.
Okay, so you slept in. I love it.
Slept in. I took a long walk. So it's either I'm walking or at the gym working out, and that's every day. And then clean around the house and make the coffee and out the door. And so that's pretty much 6 days a week, because I typically work 6 days a week. And I'm usually sleeping or dozing, anywhere between 9 and 10.
Yep.
I mean, so this is not a superhuman thing.
No.
Okay. I mean, but it's like, how do you get the most out of your day? And unfortunately, my ice cream, I love watching TV.
Yes.
So I'm, I have to go through habits of, limiting doses at times.
Yes.
So, but yeah, it's those routines, become so automatic, and which is very important, so that your mind can be on the things that, are super meaningful.
Right.
And, but also figuring out, I start the week out with a schedule that's ready to roll. Every day's outlined. And of course that can change, but I know what to expect.
Right.
And I think that's super helpful. But then, weekends, Sundays particularly are designed for reading.
Yes.
And so I'll spend hours reading and trying to think through things so I can understand them.
Right.
Yeah. So I live in a world of working with highly analytical people.
I'm sure you do. Yes.
And so,
I live up here on the disc profile here.
Oh,
Rick.
you do?
Yeah.
So
I'm an ID.
You know where this is.
Yeah.
And so I did this to myself.
Yes.
I surrounded myself with highly analytical people.
They're right
I hired
down
them
here. Yeah. You have to have some D, right? Dominant factors.
Oh, yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. But the thing about working with high analytics is if they're wonderful people, okay, but if they sense you're not on their speed, they can be very dismissive. Okay.
My best friends are engineers. I understand this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely those guys.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
And so you have to be on your game.
Right.
And you have to, you don't have to assert yourself, but it's good for you that they realize that you're there with them. And it works so much better when they know they have someone like that.
Yes.
That they work with.
Versus like, let's get it done and
not really understanding what's happening.
Right.
Yeah, that's a non-starter for them. They will write you off at a
believe
New York
me,
Minute.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. So
I still have years to learn, I think, and grow here. But
I think you're doing just fine.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. So let's talk acquisition, because that
sure.
to me is like, just thinking through kind of your grinding it out years, and then you're grinding it out again, I think, to figure out how to be a founder, run your business, become successful, which you did. Within this whole Cincinnati region, everybody knew Flynn Company, everybody knew Rick, everybody spoke highly of you and kind of the ethos of your brand. So
thank you.
How did this come to be? Were you like, all right, it's time to figure this out? Were you approached? I always like to hear how it came to be, how the deal came to be. It's exciting.
Yeah, I think, it was exciting. We were approached. For a while, I had been thinking, okay, how are we going to, have succession? Mm-hmm. And, the firm just kept getting bigger, and I didn't have any equity partners. I looked at different models. I looked at an ESOP.
Right.
We went down that road. It wasn't the right fit for people here. And I started thinking, well, maybe we'll morph this and create, somewhat of a business buying endeavor. Mm-hmm. And that way I can create new opportunities, basically create new restarts for people, mm-hmm. so that they can help me run other businesses. It didn't have to be professional services. It could be other things.
Right.
And getting closer and closer to doing that. And then I was approached by UHY, and looking at that opportunity, I met with them, flew up to Detroit, which is home base, mm-hmm. and they really resonated with me. They serve the mid-market, and not a lot of SEC work, but your manufacturers, your core solid business,
right.
Which make America work, right?
Yes, for sure.
And but I really liked them, mm-hmm. and I could, I could see my people, the people at Flynn Company, thriving with that. They needed a bigger track to run on.
Right.
And what I'm super proud of is to bring a firm, it's a top 30 firm. All right. And, as we talked about,
I saw you all the time in the list, the book of lists, right? You were always doing well.
We were on the list.
Yes.
And, but we were one of 46,000.
Right.
Okay. So I was so proud to be on that list. Mm-hmm. But now to bring back into our community a firm, right now they're measured at the 26th largest firm in the country.
It's wonderful.
With what they can do for our community, mm-hmm. is immense.
Yes.
And, a lot of people really don't understand how important choice is. Having choices like in Canada in banking, they have just a few banks.
Right.
United States has thousands. Choice makes a difference. This is why saving Warsaw Federal created choice for Price Hill.
Yeah.
That community.
Right.
And, so to bring back a firm with this much depth, I mean, they have 2,000 people in the U.S. Mm-hmm. In other countries, they have another 7,000.
Wow.
In 95 other countries. This is pretty special. And so our community needs this. And they need other choices too. But I thought, with what Cincinnati represents economically, manufacturing, service companies, a lot of entrepreneurial companies.
Yes.
This is their sweet spot.
Right.
And so I think this was a real find that I had to jump on. I didn't talk to any other firms. I mean, this was the one.
You could probably feel it in your gut, right? They always say in your gut if it's right.
I knew in my gut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. And you're making me think about just kind of this state of the market right now is that when you say choice to me, it says, I see a lot of RIA firms, for example,
oh, yeah.
Being bought by private equity.
Yes.
And being rolled up. And I think 20 years from now, where will we be right? With all of these mergers that are happening and with PE coming in, will there be some limitation there into the future so that there aren't only 3 CPA firm choices, right, out of 46,000? So I like you saying choice, because to me, I don't know if that's where you were trying to bring it at all, but
you're getting it for sure.
It makes me think about that.
You're spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, the choice is super important. We as Americans, we like options, okay? And I think, that's how our economy, that's how capitalism works.
Yes.
Okay, that's why capitalism, it's not perfect, but it works because it doesn't subsidize failure like socialism or communism.
Right.
Okay, so in those other two, you'll have a failing enterprise that will continue, and that's to the detriment of all the stakeholders. Okay, but in our country, it may sound harsh, but failure actually makes it work.
Right.
And because you're working out the weaker brands out of the story, but we also have the ability to do restarts and reconstitute new companies. So, for me, why this made sense, what was on my mind at the time, well, I was thinking, how are we going to tackle artificial intelligence? Okay, so how can we make it a friend rather than a foe?
Right.
And we had been trying to do things with it. It just took forever to get there for us.
Yes.
And because we were continuously growing, adding new clients that deserve to be served at a peak level.
Yes.
So, we didn't have the horses to get it done to truly integrate AI into, and it's a moving target. And so I needed a bigger platform.
Yeah.
That could handle that. They have that. I mean, and it keeps evolving, and they're on top of it, and it's already making a difference for us.
Well,
So,
and I think that to think about the CEOs that are listening and the C-suite people that are listening to this podcast, and they're thinking about just AI, the future, right? You hear it all. You listen to the experts, and you have this big dichotomy, I would say, of the optimists to obviously the people that are not optimists at all.
Yeah, they're not happy.
That are in the middle, and there's a worry, and we're thinking about scale, and you hear all these things that potentially the people that will go will be the CEOs and the C-suites and the higher ups, but then those really hard blue collar labor jobs are the ones that are going to be the millionaires, 15, 20 years from now. So it's interesting to see how all these companies are adopting and thinking. I know us at Northern Cincinnati Foundation, we've really thought about, the use of AI, integration, anything tech, upskilling we can get. And we actually say it's good that we are utilizing AI because donor dollars are going further, right? They still have the relationship, but now we can scale and do things we've never done before that would cost us, $1 million to have fulfilled. The fact that we were the first foundation in the country, community foundation, that did start to finish open a donor advised fund, a scholarship fund online, fund it right then and there in real time.
Yes.
To build that software 5 years ago, we couldn't have done it. We couldn't have afforded that.
It would have been tens of thousands of dollars.
Exactly.
And that would go on the scrap heap.
Right.
And so this will keep accelerating in a lot of ways. And some of these softwares that cost so much to develop can be developed so much faster, and new advances, and
it's incredible.
Medical and everything else. But going back to the community foundation, the one thing that is so endearing about your foundation is that I can pick up a phone and I can talk to somebody about how my donor advised fund's going to work, and what you think about, giving to a particular organization or things like that. And I think that is a true differentiator
Yes.
between the Northern Cincinnati Community Foundation and perhaps like a Fidelity, for instance.
Yes, definitely.
And, so even though you'll have massive advancements in AI and you'll have small businesses saying, how am I ever going to compete? It's just a change in differentiation. You have to go back to, why would a customer buy from you? And so I think, we don't know where AI is going to take us, unfortunately, or fortunately. I will see.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think it's going to eliminate or accelerate. We all know that.
Right.
Like in my world, there was a great article in Fortune magazine. I think it was the April-May edition. There was a chart that talked about, where is AI heading, or where's it going to fill the buckets? And the top two were mathematics and computing, and the second one was finance. Bazing! I mean, that's my world.
Right.
And I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, this is interesting, but I'm not concerned about that because you've got to have people that can do judgments. Agreed. And listen and communicate and have relationships.
Yes.
And so that's true differentiation. Similarly, when you talk to a dentist, and a dentist was like, I don't do nearly the fillings that I used to do because toothpaste has been unbelievable.
Right.
And well, it's like, aren't you afraid of that? It's like, absolutely not. Now I can do more creative things like, veneers and other types of things.
Right.
And, so it's the same premise.
I like it. You're an optimist. This is good. And I think that we all should be optimists, right? I do think a healthy bit of skepticism is good, right? But
well, yeah, I think, choosing between optimism and pessimism, you would always want to choose optimism, even if you're wrong.
Right.
Okay.
I like that. Yeah. It's a good leader, I think. Yes.
Yeah, you definitely want to lean in that direction.
Positive, yeah. My dad told me the other day, and he was a leader for the FDA. He said, what I was told once at FBI training school, leadership school, was leaders make the weather. And I've always liked that, that you make the weather. So, come in happy and smiley and good, don't make it thunderstorm, right? Or a tornado, And so I really think about that now. I'm like, okay, no matter what's happening, you need to lead and lead positively and be strong, and you make the weather.
Yeah, so. I can see your dad saying that.
Yeah, he's such a happy-go-lucky kind of person. So something we ask all of our people, and randomly, I will say this is a fun question. There is no wrong answer, but we always say, if the world was ending, what would you bring in your bug out bag? If you had a bug out bag, and we don't prep you on this, Rick, because we want your honest answer here, but it can't be your wife of 40 years or your children. Let's just assume everybody's with you, pets and all, if you have pets. But what would be in your bug out bag beyond that?
Well, I would say a book of memories. And, you can live off of that the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So, which means it's a tall order, right? You got to create as many as you can.
Yeah.
You can't let anything go to waste.
I like that. That's probably one of my favorite answers. So for our
great question.
Yeah. For our listeners, is there something today that you feel like we didn't get to talk about that you wanted to touch on today?
Well, I'd like talking about your foundation.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's really one of the best kept secrets.
Thank you.
And so I think more needs to be said about that and what you guys have created and how, it's doing both things, right? But the two things that I like the most, efficiency and effectiveness.
Right.
And so you're driving toward efficiency so that you can, serve more people.
Right.
Okay. But you haven't you haven't lost the effectiveness by doing it.
Yes.
And, like I said, I can pick up the phone and talk to someone that cares.
Yes. You can even call me on a Saturday since you work 6 days a week.
That's good. But yeah, I think that's what you've carried on, and you'll take that to the next level. And, so I think you can't say enough about that.
Thank you. No, I will say that I've been almost 12 years now at the Northern Cincinnati Foundation.
12 years?
12
wow.
years. I know. Time flies.
Incredible.
What happened? But I love every minute of it. And I think I love it because I get to work with special people like you that started something, did something amazing, and then are giving back. And I get to help those people, give back. And that's the most fun job I think I'll ever have. There's no grass is greener on the other side, because you're doing something good and impactful for your community.